Hey guys, in today's video we're going to dive into Godzilla vs. Kong and the New Empire. Opinions on the latest Monstroverse movie are pretty divided. One user of the former old Twitter commented that Godzilla vs. Kong is basically a big fight between titans that has almost no human elements to connect us emotionally, but pointed out that it's a spectacular duo fight between Godzilla and Kong against King Scar and Shimo. Another user on the same social network praised the film, saying it's amazing, and pointed out that director Adam Wingard dove headfirst into the style of a fantastic rock opera in an incredibly fun and exciting way, like a true declaration of love. Who's telling the truth? Will it be the best movie or just another movie? So let's go to the review of Godzilla vs. Kong, the New Empire. Before continuing, remember to subscribe to the channel and like the video to stay updated. Your likes and subscriptions contribute to the growth of the project. With the project growing, I can bring you more interesting videos. Agreed? Thanks for the support. Continuing, the cast of Godzilla vs. Kong brings back Dr. Elaine, played by Rebecca Hall, her adopted daughter Gia, played by Kaylee, and Bernie Heiss, played by Brian Tyree Henry, among other characters. Even though their presence in the story isn't the main point, being sidelined a bit amidst Kong's battles and journey, they have their standout moments. Godzilla plays a key role, but the new movie focuses more on Kong, prioritizing his personal adventure after returning to Hollow Earth. This focus gives the movie more substance, preventing it from becoming just another superficial story. It may be premature to say, but I think it's unlikely that Godzilla vs. Kong: The New Empire will be remembered at next year's Academy Awards ceremony. After Godzilla Minus One won the award for Best Visual Effects, it's clear that the most recent film isn't so much concerned with Godzilla's nuclear heritage, but rather with how many fights between monsters the audience can bear to watch, before starting to question how we'd possibly deal with the consequences of these confrontations. The film is quite over the top, full of impossible fights that defy the laws of physics. But perhaps that's exactly what we would expect from the American version of Toro's greatest icon. Several titans make their presence known throughout the film, but the New Empire stands out with the entry of King Scar, an ape with an immense thirst for power, who commands a frigid and dangerous creature. King Scar is shown to be out of control and brutal, finding pleasure in the dominance and violence he spreads. Watching King Scar in action is impressive. The Titan is fast, ruthless, and sees no barriers in achieving his goals. He proves to be a formidable challenger to Godzilla and Kong, who must forget their differences to face this new threat. Before the final showdown, we're treated to several action sequences, all of which are exciting, yet not as tension-laden. Director Adam Wingard manages to maintain the anticipation for the clash between Godzilla and Kong, especially since the atmosphere between them is still one of rivalry since their last meeting. The antagonist arouses great interest, and the decisive battle is so captivating that the outcome is deserved. The plot gains points with the personal story of Kong, who faces loneliness for apparently being the last of his kind. For Kong at least, the good news is that Hollow Earth is home to other great apes. We meet a young red monkey, which despite being the size of a small building, was digitally created to win the audience's sympathy, even showing some typical behaviors of a golem obsessed with the ring. The relationship between Kong and young Kong is particularly touching, which begins with antagonism but evolves into a kind of loyalty. I was rooting for this friendship despite the troubled start. The scriptwriters Terry Hossel, Simon Barrett, and Jerem Slater managed to convey a lot with a few words, as does the visual effects team, which surprises. The movie is indeed a spectacle centered on the Titans, providing an incredible stage for Kong as he explores life in Hollow Earth and searches for his own path to the story's climax. Despite the guaranteed fun with the monsters and all the preparations for the decisive battle, The plot of A New Empire seems somewhat artificial. There's even a prophecy that attempts to anticipate future events, serving more to add depth to King Scar's story. At certain moments, Godzilla and Kong are overwhelmed by somewhat forced explanations, which made me frown at the direction the story was taking. The journey through the Hollow Earth is interesting and greatly benefits the film by dedicating a substantial time to exploring this subterranean world. However, introducing even more uncharted areas, including an underground level, gives the impression that the writers were making any excuse to reunite Godzilla and Kong after their latest fight. Some of the plot shortcuts are even comical, such as when Trapper Kong's veterinarian, played by Dan Stambers, happens upon a tool in the Hollow Earth that can enhance Kong's abilities. Furthermore, the excessive focus on advancing the plot, resorting to narrative conveniences, ends up hindering the development of the characters' relationships. Lenny is faced with the fear of losing Gia, who in turn is struggling to find her place in the surface world, but Godzilla and Kong quickly gloss over these matters before moving on. The emotional impact of these scenes ends up being diluted by how quickly the story develops. I found myself feeling more involved with Kong than with any human character, suggestive of the imbalance of the plot. In his second time directing the MonsterVerse, Adam Wingard managed to cut out 90% of the human subplots that obstructed the Kaiju's battles. Here, the humans, with bare minimum character development, only serve to voice lines such as "We're entering the Devil's Domain." This happens right after the title Devil's Domain shows up on the screen, but if the human dialogue seems redundant to the point of underestimating the audience's intelligence, it's only to prep us in some way for the remarkable face-offs between the titans that monopolize most of the film. As for the action sequences, Wingard knows well where to draw his inspirations, paying tribute. Rambo, Lord of the Rings, and at least 2 Indiana Jones adventures, Raiders of the Lost Ark and Temple of Doom, come together to create a cinematic mosaic. Even Godzilla's excessive atomic energy absorption, which turns him pink, is reminiscent of the never-ending power-ups that make Dragon Ball Z so well known. But while we've seen each of these elements separately elsewhere, this is the first time they've been combined in this way. It's strikingly different from anything seen in the 37 Godzilla films and the 12 King Kong movies that preceded the New Kingdom. Yet, Godzilla vs. Kong and the New Kingdom is genuinely entertaining. Even in its weaker moments, the film manages to keep the pace, leading up to a climax that meets expectations regarding the clash of the titans. King Scar is an interesting addition, bringing a dose of horror and narrative urgency. The movie also has good doses of humor, especially in Henry and Steven's performances. There could be more emotional development for the human characters, but if you came to see Godzilla and Kong in action, the film definitely delivers. Leave your thoughts and questions in the comments. I'd love to chat about the video's topics. If you enjoyed the video, please like, share, and subscribe. Indicated above are upcoming videos we think you'll like. See you in the next video. Later, captions by the